Ring the alarm klaxons, we have Dwarfen Mountain Holds news for Warhammer the Old World. Well, saying news, we have leaks. So earlier today, Anders in the Miniature Realms Discord, there's a link to join in the video description you wish to, shared this picture. I don't hang around enough in Reddit to pick up on these things as they first come out, but he shared this picture. So we have a blurry look at the back of the Dwarfen Mountain Holds Arcane Journal. So I thought it would be fun to take a look at the text that's on the back and chat about it in a very, very short video, so you can all join in the comments and let me know what you think. The text is pretty blurry. I copied the text from the image, pasted it into notes on my phone, and a lot of the words were pretty messed up. It obviously had a guess at what I thought they meant. So I spent about an hour going through it, correcting the words, looking at the blurry words, zoomed in, and doing a bit of Googling and things to make sure I got some of the names right, if they were referenceable. I think I've got the text down. There may be a spelling or something wrong here or there, but I thought I'd share that with you and read it through and talk about each point.
Miniature Realms is proudly sponsored by Baron of Dice, premium wargaming dice. Over 500 styles, over 4,000 customer reviews. Welcome to the best dice on the planet.
Arcane Journal Dwarfen Mountain Holds. This supplement takes an in-depth look at Karaz Angkor, exploring the traditions and beliefs of this powerful realm of stubborn and prideful warriors and artisans, used in conjunction with Warhammer the Old World Forces of Fantasy. This book arms you with more rules and content, allowing you to use your collection of stoic dwarves in new and exciting ways. And then we get on to the 4 paragraphs of flavoured text, and it tells us a little bit more about what we will find in the book. And we have the Mountain Realm, a comprehensive look at Karaz Angkor, the mountain realm of the dwarves, from the might of its impregnable holds to the roles of its ruling guilds and clans. So Karaz Angkor means the everlasting realms, or the mountain realm, and I believe it refers to the realm of dwarves, which will be situated in the World's Edge Mountains. People more akin to dwarven lore may well want to add to that, or correct me if I'm wrong, and please do in the comments. The reclamation of Khazid Vosk, the saga of Burlock Daminson's bold quest to reconquer the lost hold of Khazid Yosk and to reclaim its forgotten treasures. Now, I haven't been able to find a huge lot on Khazid Vosk. It is on the new interactive map just next to Karaz Karak, so quite a key area there, but I really don't know an awful lot about it. I'm not sure if it's appeared much in lore before. If it has, I don't think it's going to be any of the big arcs, which makes sense. It will make sense for the old world to have its own story arcs, its own little histories, which don't clash too much with previous lore and lore in the timeline that comes after it as well. And then the section Heroes of Legend, background and rules for 3 famous characters: Thorgrim Alexson Karl of the Dumaz Kron, Ungrin Iron Fist, the Slayer King of Karak Kadrin, and the famous engineer Burlock Daminson. Now, Thorgrim Alexson, is that Thorgrim Grudgebearer? The Damaz Kron is the Book of Grudges, but I'm not familiar with the name Alexson, so that might be something that I've missed before. I don't think that was his clan name. There was a clan Alexson. I've done a little bit of a search on that. Again, it may well be that I'm just not well read enough, or not deeply enough read in Dwarven lore, so again, in the comments below, but I think that might be a young Thorgrim Grudgebearer. And then we have Ungrin Ironfist, which of course we all know. He's the Slayer King. We've seen the miniature already. That's been shown as part of the release announcement for Adepticon back on the 21st of March, I think it was. So we know that miniature's coming. I'm really excited about that, and hopefully he will give some good buffs to Slayers, because they're good for fun games, but I think they're a little bit down on the competitive side at the moment, if you game that way, that is. And then we have Burlock Daminson, Master Engineer and Guildmaster of the Dwarf Engineers Guild. That sounds really interesting. He's an existing character in terms of name within the lore. I don't think he's ever had rules, but again, please correct me if I'm wrong. And that's really, really interesting as well. I wonder whether he's going to give some good buffs to dwarf war machines. So is the dwarf gun line going to be back? I think at the moment it's struggling a little bit for competitive players. I know for non-competitive players it may not be a thing, but I know competitive player tends to bleed down into casual play because people used match play style rules for their club games. Obviously, if you're playing at home with your mate and you're creating a big narrative campaign, those things matter a lot less. So I'm really looking forward to reading the lore for these characters. I think they're going to be fantastic, seeing them in the new old world era, but also how they impact the rules of the dwarves as well. They're not uncompetitive, but they're also, if you look at their win rates and things at the moment, I know a lot of people don't look at them, but they're also not towards the top either. They are towards the bottom third. It'll be really interesting of whether an engineer, and if you take an engineer army or something like that, will give some good buffs to some of those war machines. Hopefully that doesn't make them really, really good and unfun to play against either, because that's also not what we want. And then the final section is Armies of Infamy. Rules to field 2 unique dwarf armies of infamy, royal clans, and engineers expeditionary forces. Those are really, really interesting as well. I, for one, and you'll have seen this in videos if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you go back and watch a lot of my other videos, we're expecting a dwarf Slayer list, especially with Ungrim announced and showed at the Adepticon launch. We just assumed it, and I think most of the dwarf player community assumed it was Slayers plus something else. It's quite interesting they're not. In some ways that makes me a little bit sad. I love the idea of doing a Slayer army. So maybe Ungrim himself have some special rules that allows you to take more Slayers or something like that. So you kind of get half an army of infamy for the price of one, all chucked in sort of thing. Because I thought that might make them a little bit more competitive. I'm pretty sure that they've shown off some other Slayer models, some of the stuff from Storm of Chaos. So I'm guessing there's going to be rules for those in this book as well, but I'll make no assumptions anymore based on this because I really thought there'd be a Slayer army. But the other two look really interesting anyway. Royal clans, be interesting to see how that works. And then the Engineers Expeditionary Forces. Very, very interesting. Hopefully it's not just all guns. Hopefully there's a use of gyrocopters. I would love there to be another dwarf war machine. I don't think they're going to surprise us with a big model, but they may do. There were rumours, well, more than rumours really, they were working on a dwarf tank around the time of 8th edition, which never got released. If you check Peachy Tips channel, he talks about it in one of his original videos, that he saw the artwork for it and knew the vision for it. So maybe they've dug the designs for that model out. I mean, I'm really wish listing here. I've got a feeling that what's been shown is the new stuff mostly, and we're not going to get any other surprises yet. But how cool would it be if we got the army book and suddenly found there was this really, really cool thing? Very much wish listing, but it would be very cool, and the expeditionary forces would be a really good place to put it in. But anyway, really cool. I can't wait to see the rules for those armies and what flavour it gives you, and also the rules for those characters and how they fit in with the armies, and how the lore is developed. I'm really, really interested in the old world lore and how that's developed for the game that we're playing now and the timeline we're playing now, how it fits in with the previous lore. Really, really interests me. I just can't wait to get hold of this book. Now, we don't know where this leak has come from, whether it's one of the influencers that gets early access. That'll be my guess, that's where it is, but it could also have been a picture that's taken from Games Workshop in a warehouse or something like that. But it, you know, the background looks like a teak table. I've trimmed it off on the image that I've shown you. It's not my image, it's something that's on Reddit. But be really interesting now. They're clearly imprinted, they're clearly out there, which goes with my theory that this release was ready to go, and because of some delays it's ended up being pushed back after the Skaven 4th edition. Understandably annoying for old world players and dwarf players like me, but very, very understandable. Hopefully that means that very, very soon, as soon as they're happy that the AOS 4 launch has gone well, that we're going to have a pre-order and get these dwarf books released. So it may not be July, but July still feels too soon now, with the actual AOS 4 release being mid-July. I still think it'll be a little bit afterwards, but maybe we'll get the pre-order on the last weekend of July, and I'll get hold of our dwarves and our books in August. I just can't wait to get hold of this book, read all the new lore in it, and plan some different armies. And my dwarf army, if you haven't seen the video already, I'll pop a little link in. My dwarf army is waiting for his king on shield bearers. My first 2,000 points, other than that, he's all done. And I'm really excited to do some alternative builds, looking at these royal clans, looking at the engineers, expeditionary forces, and maybe something Slayer based. So let me know what you think. Love to see lots of comments below discussing your thoughts and theories, how these might work, correcting any lore bits that I've got wrong, giving me extra information. If you're new to the channel and you've clicked on this video because of the thumbnail to do with the dwarf news, please do check out my other old wild content. There's lots of it, lots of dwarf stuff, and there will be lots more, covering lots of different factions, and plan to cover lots more. I released a video on a Skaven Doomwheel yesterday as well, so go and watch that. Lots of painting tutorials, do loads of those, and a few bits like this talking to camera about the game. I do cover other games as well. You'll see those also on the channel, so have a good look around. If you've enjoyed the video and you'd like to support us, like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. I've got a Discord, which is nice and friendly. Go and check the link in the video description. I do have a Patreon as well for those of you who'd like to support a little bit extra. But all in all, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.